my family were very and are extreme right wing. Yeah, my family were in the Orange Order in Donegal. My uncle, who brought me up, was the worshipful Grand Master of the Orange Order in Donegal, and all my family are extreme right wing. And my sister was the deputy mayor of Derry for some time there as a representative of the Unionist Party. I cannot think of anything from my uncle or my father, who died when I was very young, where they would have put forward progressive ideas. But what I was aware of was that there was a great contradiction at the centre of their world. The reactionary unionist ideas, that Protestants were better than Catholics, all that kind of reactionary stuff. But then in their day-to-day life, they lived, and we lived totally surrounded by Catholic neighbours. And I was born into a little farm. If anything happened to any of the neighbours, maybe their cow fell in the river or any problem that they had, my father and my uncle would have been the first people there to help them. And I always used to think, this is ridiculous, this is nonsense. If what they said was really true, why didn't they let the Catholics' cow drown? So there was always a contradiction in their world. And my mother would always go and help the neighbours when they'd have a baby and all this stuff.
And the other way around?
Yes. But then, see, the other way around wasn't such an influence on me, because it was my family who was telling me the Catholics were bad. Mm-hmm. But then I could see them acting in a way that showed that that wasn't really their, that wasn't that wasn't the way they acted. Oh no, I don't know, I have no idea what fluke happened. But being abroad definitely helped me. I mean, I remember being in New Orleans in 1966, and I came down from, actually we came up from Brazil. I was on a bulk carrier on a ship, and I had to get a test. I was up the Amazon, and you had to get tests when you came back, and shots and all that. And I was in the doctor's clinic, and we were in a waiting room with soft chairs, magazines, a lot. So then we went and walked down a corridor to get our shots, and then another room, wooden benches, no magazines, nothing, everybody black. That had a huge impact on me, to see that. And at that time also, that was the first time I ever heard of James Joyce. A guy asked me, I was working about a year before, I was working in a mine up in Canada, and a guy from Montreal said to me, he said, "What do you think of James Joyce then?" And I said, "Who's James Joyce?" I'd never heard of James Joyce. This was a French-speaking Quebecois, and he knew about Jim now, and I was so humiliated and enraged, and thought, who stopped me from finding out about this Irish writer? So the next time I got around to it was in New Orleans, and I went to the library to see if I could find out who James Joyce was. The library was packed with young black people. The atmosphere was total quiet and study, and I was so impressed by that. And I didn't understand what it was until years later. What it was the black youth preparing for the Black Revolt. And I got a book of James Joyce, but I happened to get Finnegan's Wake, and you probably know, like, Finnegan's Wake is where he makes up his own language. I thought I had concussion when I tried to read it. But things like that then brought me back to Ireland, and I didn't fit into the old world that I'd left.